is interacting with window objects and the date function. Basically what we want to do here is, I haven't closed down my other ports. Right. Okay. And I don't have, I tried to, does this not have a, right. It's just a script thing. But yeah, what we want to do here is, grab some query parameters from the URL. So there are a couple of ways we could do this. So essentially, if our URL is, okay, we can't really see it if it's, but me.html, if I put this into our URL, we can see this window.location.href is essentially just getting us this entire string. And then we're console.logging it. I actually don't know why any of this is here, because the exercise doesn't tell us to work out someone's age. It just tells us to grab the query parameters. So I'm going to delete this for now. But yeah, and from this URL string that we have, we want to essentially extract like that someone's name is Francis and that their age is 72 to print out a string that says, my name is Francis and my age is 72. So that'll be our final output. So does anyone have any ideas on how we can extract this part of the URL given this entire URL? So I guess like the first way to do it, there's completely valid, yeah. But like a bit of like a, I guess, yeah, naive way of doing it is like through string splitting. So we can grab our query. So we'll just, there are like some distinctive elements that we can split on. So first thing, we want to only grab the part after the question mark. So if I call it the like query, okay, query params are equal to URL.split, and then we split it on the question mark. And then I want the thing that comes, so it'll split on this question mark. This will, the first part will be index 0, and then this will be index 1. So I want to grab the first thing from the list. I'll just like console.log everything as so we can see how the string is splitting. Params. Okay, now I've gotten name equals Francis and age equals 72. So again, I probably want to split it again on this and sign because that separates the two arguments. So if I take, let's just call them some of the, I guess, key value pairs that I have, equals now query params dot split on the and sign this time, not pairs, and then okay, now I've gotten both of them in a list or an array. So this is where we can use the for each function again to iterate through each of the key value pairs. So I can say key value pairs dot for each pair. I want to split them on the equal sign. So I can do key value pairs dot split on this equal sign. And I actually want to keep both parts of it. So a way that you can, because this will return a list of two things. One will be, for the first one, would be name will be the first attribute, and then Francis will be the second, and I want them both. So I can actually define something like const key value and then set it equal to this. And this will just make sure that the first argument of this list will be put into the key and the second argument will be put into value, rather than me having to do it like separately. And then I might actually create like a similar to a Python dictionary, but I think they're called objects in JavaScript. So, but similar, like very similar notations. So this is like the object. And then I can just say URL data key is equal to value so that I can access it later. Okay, so if I, after all that, if I print out my URL data and refresh the page, did I split? I called it pair, not like, because I want to access this, not the key value pair, I think. Okay, yes, cool. So now I've gotten this dictionary / object that has all the variables I need. So in my console.log, I can do something like using the backticks so that I can like inject my variables into it. I can do URL data dot name, and then the second one can be URL data. Oh no. Dot age. And so I will get my name is Francis and my age is 72, which is exactly what we want. I know I have hit 4 o'clock now, but just so feel free to drop off if you need to. But just very quickly, I don't know if you have to do this in assignment 2, but I would say there's like a bit more of a cleaner way of doing it than like trying to split everything. So I might just quickly run through that now, but it's not essential. So feel free to, yeah, if you need to go, feel free to leave. But I can grab, so rather than grabbing the entire URL, I can grab your window.location.search, search, which will give me just this query string at the end, which is basically all that we want in this case. We don't really care about anything that comes before it. And then there's this object, because this is quite a common thing to do in JavaScript. So if I params is equal to new URL search params is this object in JavaScript that's inbuilt. And if I pass it this essential just the query string, it'll take that in. And then I can do something like URL params.get name .get age. And I probably should have wrapped that in a console.log. Okay, hopefully this works. Yeah, okay, this is the output of that. So essentially, this URL search params object will automatically take this query string and then split it up because it knows the format that it comes in. And then I can just use this getter function that's inbuilt into it to grab properties by their name. So if I put in like another query parameter like height and gave it a value, I could then say URL parameters.get height, and that would work too. So that would probably be, I would say, if you were actually doing this, the preferable way, but doing it by splitting just teaches you some of the functionality of JavaScript. So I guess both are kind of valuable in this case.